All right, chat. My closet's showing embarrassing. My open closet. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. Let's lock in. I have not made a video. God, let me check. Well, the topic of this video, if my thumbnail says what, what I'm planning to write. This video will be about the topic of change. As for why I'm bringing this up, I guess I posted this video, the last video 5 days ago. 8 views. I think I'm still riding off the high of like the 307 views. Professional yapper. I had a decent amount. I don't know. I'll get like, yeah, who's even watching this shit? Anyways. Okay, we'll give a quick update for my life in general. Over the weekend, my friend came over, did a lot of exploring of the city, ate a lot of food, spent a lot of money, played a lot of pickleball, a decent amount of pickleball. I watched Good Will Hunting and Almost Famous, 2 really good movies. And then I also saw Groundhog Day yesterday, which is apt because yesterday was Groundhog Day. And that one was really enjoyable, in my opinion. Not the highest rated film, but I think it had its own themes, its own message. And while it kind of forces the points as opposed to having a realistic story, the movie's Groundhog Day. I don't know, I think it still did well. I enjoyed it a lot, at least a lot more compared to Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting was good, but it didn't evoke emotion for me. And I think maybe that was just because Will in the film was very guarded, not very vulnerable, and there weren't too many scenes where it really felt like I could really connect with the characters, and maybe that's just me though. But still, Good Will Hunting was an objectively good film. But it was a lot of fun, and now I'm here because I want to make this video before I get to studying because I need to lock in. I also need to balance my time well, and I don't know, I'm talking about change because in literally all these videos I've been talking about this idea, this concept of change, of growing, and right now I think I'm at a point where this change is coming much more easily to me. I have a lot more internal self-confidence, a lot more independence, and I'm realizing I had a lot of avoidant tendencies and a lot of fear that I needed to work through. Because, like, for example, I have been on and off these dating apps for a while, and I always try to, I do get matches, and I try to talk to these girls. Sometimes they don't work out, sometimes they kind of work out, and then things just end up not working out. But my main point is that something kept bringing me back to these dating apps, and because we're all humans, we're people, we all want human connection, and of course having a girlfriend would be nice, having someone else to experience life with me as their own person, and I don't know, opening me to different perspectives and things like that would be amazing. Experiencing new things with this person, having a partner to go through life with, and on a less heavy note, someone to just, I don't know, I think I've also had an issue of thinking very, not literally, but very seriously when it comes to these thoughts, as opposed to really throwing emotion or joy or the usual bullshit I kind of put out. Maybe that's something I need to practice, honestly, too. But like dating apps I always kept going back to. And every time I would match with a bunch of people, but I would just fumble and I would not know what to say, and I would fuck things up, and I would just feel it. I would just feel like, God, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I didn't think I was embarrassing myself, but I could just feel that things were just, I didn't know what to do. I felt uncomfortable. I was just like, what am I even doing here? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And now, right at this very moment, I guess I forgot to mention, when my friend came down to Atlanta, I made him a Hinge profile, and we just started swiping a shit ton. And today and yesterday, I got a bunch of matches back. And so now I'm talking to, I don't know, a bunch of different girls. And that's not to flex, but that is to say that now, surprisingly, I feel a lot more comfortable actually talking to these women. And the reason I bring that up is mainly to highlight the fact that if I had stopped trying on these dating apps and had given up way back when to like my first few fumbles, I would not be in a position where now I feel much more confident. I feel much more capable, and I'm actually, oh shit, I'm having fun talking to these girls. I'm actually interested in getting to continue talking to them. And maybe that's not a great intro to this video, but in any case, let's talk about change. Why is change important? What is change? How do you actually define what change is? How do you actually change in life? I don't know. Because I take that, the reason I talk about all the dating app stuff is because change is difficult. Change is not easy. Change is, in my eyes, the definition of change in the context of your own personal growth, your own character development, growing into your own person. Change is learning to tackle the challenges that you face in trying to achieve your goals. I don't know if that was a very clear sentence, but say, for example, you want to find a girlfriend, but there's a ton of shit stopping you, whether that's social anxiety, lack of practice of social skills, not having the confidence to download a dating app or even make a profile. Just a lot of blockers, I guess. I don't know what typically goes through someone's head when it comes to, I don't know, things like that, but point being, I believe that we all have things that we come back to because we want something there, but we don't know how to face it properly, and then end up running away from it, coming back to it, and then repeating that cycle, and just over and over and over and over. And how do we change in the face of that? I think the most important thing, first of all, is awareness. Because you can do something. This doesn't exactly even have to apply to some form of vice. I mean, I guess the way I'm thinking about change right now is me working on the things that are holding me back from doing the things that I want to do. And right now, that's studying for my fundamentals of engineering exam. That's me actually learning to manage my time, to respect myself, so that I can clean up my room, do chores, go grocery shopping, and make meal prep food so that I can do these things to take care of myself. Because the mentality that I've had has just been, oh, I need to have the right conditions for this. I need to set aside the time. I need to, I don't know, just have all these things come together so that I can do this thing. However, it's been almost a month that I've been back in Atlanta, and I haven't really done any of this shit. I mean, the first few weeks, to be fair, were me getting back into the swing of things, dealing with car shit. But now it's becoming less of an actual reason and more of an excuse. And it's holding me back. And as the date for my FE exam comes up and the food is running out of my fridge, I'm realizing I need to actually do something so that I take care of myself. I need to stop making excuses that, like all these conditions aren't lining up because they're never going to. I'm like, if I have a free weekend, then I can do stuff. But I'm still making plans with people. I'm still wanting to do stuff with people. And the old version of me would have just been thinking, okay, I have these plans, so I can't do this. No, I don't really want to. I have to reserve this mental energy for this thing that's coming up later, and I just want to do the bare minimum of things. But I've been doing that for weeks, and if I want to really do these things, like they're in the back of my head. Every week, I'm thinking, oh shit, I gotta buy groceries, I gotta actually study for this exam, I actually gotta do stuff with my friends, or remember to make time for the people that care about me and want to spend time with me. But I've just been putting everything off. And so there comes a point where you have to think, when is enough enough? And that's what awareness is. You realizing that there is legitimately an issue that you need to address. And it's not just like, I think there are points where, let's say you're studying in school and you can't focus, or you have a pattern of not being able to focus before an exam, like not being able to focus while you study or do homework, and that thing's distracting you, and then you feel like stress comes up, you vent about it, you don't know what to do, blah, 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 and that's just like your reaction to it, right? Which is valid. But I think what a lot of people are missing is the awareness part that can come after if you think about it. So you get stressed because you can't focus, and you have a pattern of not being able to focus. You have this reaction period where you're like, fuck, this sucks, and then you're just like, take a break, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I feel like people just right after come back to doing the thing and then not being able to study again without revisiting why they might not be able to study, why they might not be able to focus. And that can apply to you wanting to go to the gym, but every time you convince yourself to go, you stop yourself, you hold yourself back, you don't know why, and then you just, okay, I'll go tomorrow. And then it's like the cycle continues, and that's what we're trying to break, right? Is that rinse and repeat, that spin cycle of trying to do the thing, not being able to do it, giving up, and then taking a break, and then going back to trying again, and then not actually doing something different. And what that takes is to turn off the autopilot. Actually sit down and think about what factors are stopping you from doing these things. And it's a very abstract thing. I'm not saying it's easy, but how I'm saying it, how I'm describing it is that simple. Think about what's holding you back. For me, when I was still in school, not that I have something to study for still also, but I was distracted all the time. My screen time was fucked. I didn't feel like I could focus on the work that I was doing. I literally couldn't put my phone down. And freshman year to the beginning of sophomore year, I guess I was just like, why, like what's going on? And then what I started trying to do is find a solution for my problem. And that's where it starts. From there, when I realized I actually needed to change, because I felt deep down that I wanted to, that it was important to me. And I don't know, everything was just, there were outside pressures also, I don't know. But I was realizing, I'm too addicted to my phone. I'm spending a lot of time, it's gonna be embarrassing to admit, but like sophomore year, I would just go to the bathroom and then just sit on my phone for like 45 minutes consistently. And I would just be on my phone, just doom scrolling. And I'm sitting here wondering, oh, why can't I study? I can't even go to the bathroom without sitting on my phone for 45 minutes on the toilet. And just like, point being is that there are probably patterns in your life that you're not even aware of, and you have these problems. You have these issues that you have these things you want to accomplish, these things you want to do. And every time you try to actually get started, you get faced with a lack of motivation. You get faced with, I don't know, mental pressure that just stops you, just some feeling in your heart that's just like, fuck, I don't want to do it. And figuring out what those things are is so very important. And again, I'm not saying it's easy, but what I am saying is that it has to be a consistent effort to get yourself there. Change happens when you dig deep, you keep trying to do the thing, and you consistently face this knot in your stomach, this pain, this discomfort that you're experiencing when you try to start. That's the thing that you need to sit with and reflect on and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's stopping me? Because I'm sure everyone has had moments where you were actually able to do the thing. There was a moment where you could focus. There were environments, factors that allowed you to successfully do these things, but it's not consistent. And I think that being able to reflect on your successes and understand how they differentiate from your losses is important. And that's not like an actual loss, like an actual failure. Like you can dictate a win as being able to successfully study, or a win as being able to successfully leave the house, or a win as being able to wash the dishes, clean your room. Anything can be a win. It ranges from uploading a video or actually talking to someone. What were you feeling in those moments? What conditions led you to be able to do that? What was the context? Were you with other people? What were you thinking? How are you feeling? Where were you? It's so many things people don't think about that can 100% have an impact on your behavior. Like for me in the past, I was someone who felt much more socially confident when I was with my friends, with people I was comfortable around. But then when I was alone, I was just not that same person. I lacked confidence. I was insecure. And that's because I had confidence when I was with my friends. And I didn't understand. I didn't know why. I was like, why do I need... The question I was asking myself is, why do I only have confidence when I'm with my friends? And then finding that answer was the thing that allows me now to be able to have confidence talking to people in one-on-one situations, developing my social skills, practicing them, putting myself in more social situations and meeting new people. There are more ways to practice change than you think. And I want to encourage that or emphasize that idea, because I feel like people nowadays take the road that's most comfortable. And I think there's a lot of good people out there, good content, good motivational edits that inspire people to be more, to do more, and grow. But change and growth isn't something that's constantly inspiring people. It's every day you make a choice to work towards being someone that you want to be. It's taking the step that actively puts you closer to your goal. And remembering that and keeping that in your brain is something that is so important. And I don't even know if being this person that you aren't currently, if these goals that you haven't achieved yet are deeply important to you, if you find yourself coming back to this thing because you want this thing, you have to figure out why that is. Because otherwise, you're gonna be stuck in the same spot where you were hurt, the same spot where, I'm saying same spot as in like someone hurt you at the specific age. Because no one's born with insecurities. People, like, I'm not gonna, they're not those sorts, whatever, that's like a total separate exception. Typical neurotypical people are not just born with these problems. They were forced upon us by those who haven't healed themselves internally. And was that our fault? No. But if we want to be better for ourselves, then we have to want to take that step to heal. And God, I'm trying to think of like, change is important. And I guess I just see a lot on social media of people who constantly cope with fucking, I don't know. I was literally thinking of opening up Twitter and then going through tweets and then just pointing out the issues people have, or the issues that I feel like people have. Maybe that's negative phrasing, I apologize. But the mentality that people have, I think, is problematic. Because everyone's so very... That's not the right phrasing of that sentence, but it feels like people give up too easily. People go through negative experiences and then they project those negative experiences out onto everybody else. And while I don't doubt that you went through things that hurt you, that doesn't give you the right to put down the potentials of other people, when, in my opinion, I think everyone can grow out of their circumstances. And while it's not an equal opportunity, some more harder than others, you don't know until you try. And I really don't want to sound like this is some bullshit platitude, as a friend might have said. But I really do believe that if you are feeling a lot of pain, a lack of purpose, insecurities, whatever problem you feel like you might have in your life, taking that step forward to try never hurts more than staying where you are for the rest of your life. You cannot convince me of that, ever. I cannot agree with that idea. If I believed in that, from my own experience, if I believed in that, I never would have gone to Georgia Tech. I would have never met all the friends that I have now. I would have never tried to develop myself socially. I would never have developed this internal sense of confidence. And it wasn't in a year. It took over 4 years. I don't even know how fucking long. The loneliness I felt, the insecurities I had, the shit I had to work through, I worked through because I knew who I wanted to be. I knew what was important to me. I knew that I didn't want to change for other people. I knew who I was, And I knew I had to put in the work to get to that point. I put myself in uncomfortable situations. I challenged myself to grow. I did what I could to meet new people, work on myself physically, focus on my studies, cut down the screen time and things that didn't add value to my life, the things that I knew were taking away from me. I put all this effort in, and I'm now in a position where I'm happy. And if people told me there's no point in trying, no point in taking that first step, I wouldn't be here. I would be stuck in my hometown with a lack of purpose, hating myself still, not having any idea of the potential I had. And here I am now today, happy with myself, confident, and capable of so much more still. Because, again, you can never convince me that turning off the autopilot, reflecting on the problems that you have in your life, and thinking, how can I try to achieve this dream? What can I do today to keep working towards this? That cannot possibly hurt more than staying lost and dealing with your insecurities in the comfort of forgetting your dreams, of your forgetting your potential. And maybe I should have prefaced this earlier by saying, if you are satisfied with yourself, then you don't have to change. You don't have to do anything. But again, are you really happy with where you are right now? Because I think people choose not to change because it's easy. People choose comfort in what's familiar because it's easy. But I ask you to really think, if you try to do this one thing, assuming it doesn't have the potential to destroy your life financially or physically or whatever, what is it really going to cost? Because you can try, you can fail, and you can go back to being where you were before. But I will always take the 1% chance every day that I change a little bit over the 0% chance that I stay where I am. Because why would you damn yourself to that fate? Why would you willingly choose to believe in the idea that there's no hope for you? Why would you choose to constantly hate yourself every day? Why would you choose to constantly project hate onto other people every day? And in that, I'm referencing people on Twitter who believe all these negative things about these demographics, whether that's women, minorities. I don't even defending ICE. I don't not to get, apologize. Doesn't reflect me or my company, whatever. But seriously, I just don't get it. Because even myself, with all the self-hatred I had, with all the self-shame I had, with all the belief that I deserved to be alone, that I deserved nobody, I still wanted someone to care about me. I still wanted someone to love me. And that's what I tried to give myself. I worked hard to get, I don't know how to phrase that. I don't remember what this quote is. Something out there says, people have said, based off Instagram edits, if you are trying to love yourself, if you are trying to take care of yourself, you're practicing self-love already. You can't feel it. You don't know it. Because I remember I was at a point, even like a year ago, where I was just like, what the hell are they talking? Like, I don't even feel like I love myself. And I'm still doing these things. I didn't think I was doing it for myself. But you get to a point where even if you don't feel like it's for you, in the end, the things that you're trying to do to change is an expression of love. I think that is the idea that needs to be emphasized, is that every time you choose to do something difficult for you, but it's good for you, like going to the gym or studying for that exam or doing that homework, these are things you do to take care of yourself, to reduce the stress that you feel in the future, to work towards a better version of yourself. I don't know, like working out is self-care, running is self-care, making diaries, being honest with yourself is self-care, but it just is uncomfortable because we, as people, aren't comfortable with the idea of loving. It's not something that's talked about, self-love. It's not something that's typical even. But in my opinion, every time you clean your room for yourself, every time you make your bed, every time you wash the dishes, every time you make yourself food, every time you take a shower, it's an expression of love for yourself. And I really want you to sit with that. Because how often, okay, well, I'm Asian. I grew up with a very traditional family that doesn't say I love you. And I'm not even that comfortable saying it. Like, if I were to say it to someone else and genuinely mean it, that would be the hardest thing ever. I've said it before, but it's uncomfortable, it's weird. And maybe that's something I have to work through. But each time you do something to take care of yourself, that's an expression of self-love. Playing games to reduce your stress. But of course, everything in moderation. You can't just, if you know it's not something you should be doing in that moment, and we all know what we should not be doing in each and every moment. We know we shouldn't be doom scrolling. We know we shouldn't be spending like literally 10 hours playing a video game. We know that there are more important things for us out there. And that's a matter of self-respect, of respecting your goals, respecting your dreams. And God, that point reminded me of something I wanted to say, but now I forgot. So, I don't know. God. I'm trying to remember. Kind of forgot though. What was I saying? Everything in moderation. I don't remember. My head's a G. But, point being, it's really important for you to take care of yourself. I'm trying to remember what I said, or what I was thinking of saying, because maybe I should write a script for this. I should probably write a script for this. In some point in the future when I actually try to establish this channel and come up with good ideas. Or, I have good ideas, but I just don't write them down. I'll get somewhere. God. But yeah. God, I'm trying to remember what I was trying to say. I don't know. I think, even on that note though, when you try to change, definitely need a good support system. Because if you're completely alone, it's gonna suck. A lot of shit is gonna suck. If you don't have friends you can be honest and vulnerable with, if you don't have space to vent your emotions, your stress, if you can't talk to anybody, That's huge. I was blessed with friends who were willing to hear me out, who maybe couldn't share or relate to my exact emotions or experiences, but they were there to listen to me. And maybe that's one thing. I feel like everyone can start by actually maybe even making these YouTube videos, not video diaries, maybe even buying a journal and writing down your thoughts and putting them out there so that you can work through things and sit with them and just, I don't know, feel what you're feeling, as opposed to jumping into some rush of dopamine and forgetting what you cared about in the first place. And I think, I don't know, I was trying to talk about how to change and why it's important. Maybe I did talk about that, but not in too much detail, because I only have my experience of how I changed, how I grew, and there's no way I can cover all of it. And I don't even know if people would care to listen to that. But I don't know. I think something that definitely helped me was knowing who I wanted to be and having the self-confidence that the person I wanted to be would be built around those values. I didn't try to be like other people. I didn't try to change myself. I maybe took elements and thought about who I wanted to be. It's like, okay, I can be more open as a person. I can work on my social skills. I can be someone who's very outgoing. I can take traits and make them a part of myself and grow that way, because I wanted to change socially. I don't know if this video made sense. I'm literally just yapping. This is really a yapping channel. But like, I don't know. I think we need to get off fucking social media. Live in the real fucking world. Have empathy for your fellow people. Have some love and self-respect for yourself. Well, have self-love and self-respect, or love and respect for yourself. And think about what you want to do as a person, who you want to be. Whether that's smart, creative, artistic, if you want to make music, if you want to play the guitar, if you want to work out, if you want to be strong, if you want to be physically attractive, if you want to have a girlfriend. Break down the steps you need to take to get there. What does it take to get a girlfriend? Good hygiene. Take care of yourself, putting effort into your looks. I think there are a lot of things that you can have one big goal, and then figuring out the steps that it takes to get to that big goal is what people need to think about and sit with. Because if your goal is to get a girlfriend, but you're missing all these parts that makes you attractive to a woman, then why would a girl date you? If you don't have good fashion sense, if you don't know how to talk to women, if you don't understand the perspective of a woman, if you don't, I don't know, have good hygiene, if you don't know how to, this is a really different topic, but people really need to think about love, guys, as a survival of the fittest. Because I think guys really like to talk about, let's go back to when women didn't have any rights, and it was so simple in the 60s and 70s, and feminism is a problem. These guys that talk about history in the past like that don't understand that what it is now, I have to think this idea out fully. It's a survival of the fittest. And the guys who are the most attractive to women in this ecosystem, in my opinion, are those who have a backbone and know how to express their own opinions and know who they are as a person and are their own person. Maybe some of this sounds obvious, but I feel like there are a lot of guys out there who don't get that. And I don't know, I'm just yapping. I'm not even talking about changing. I'm just... If it doesn't work, if the steps you're taking to get to your goal don't work, think about what works towards getting to that goal and what doesn't. What do you need to remove? What do you need to change? What needs to be different? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result is stupid. Try different things. Change things up. Keep what works. Throw out what doesn't. Figure out what you like to do, how you like to do things. You don't have to conform to other people. Define for yourself what's important, what matters. And yeah, I don't even want to conclude this video like properly. I don't know what the hell I'm saying anymore. I'm just yapping. I have to go study. I manage my time. I have to do the things that I have to do. I don't know. You know, discipline's another thing. I'll end on that. God, sorry. Each and every day you try to do something for yourself, that is discipline. Because you're doing something that's different. It's taking effort, it's a challenge. You're doing something hard, something that you're not used to doing. And practicing that and repeatedly doing it is what gets you, in my opinion, to that point of loving yourself, of growing, of changing, and becoming someone who is discovering who you are. Let's phrase it that way. God. And in any case, I don't know, I'm just yapping. It's, again, different perspective, different ideas I'm trying to include. These videos are really fucking long also. So, apologies, but maybe you're enjoying the content. I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching. I'm fucked. I need to come up with a script at some point for this because it's just fucking yapping, but whatever. All right, thanks guys. See you in the next one.